My husband always competed with our babies for my attention. Now, his jealousy has led me to file a restraining order. My husband 42M and I 35F tried for so long to have our boys and girl. Due to a health issue my husband suffered, he developed fertility issues and we had to get medical assistance to be able to have our children, because if we didn't, he'd probably never have kids. So, we went through fertility treatment. He desperately wanted his own biological children, and we spent a fortune just to bring them into the world, and now he's jealous and distant with them? He's constantly in competition with his own infant children. If I hold the children, he gets frustrated. Anytime they take my attention away he gets completely pissy. He's always in a foul mood, irritable and just downright nasty. I don't understand it. Why is he like this? Our children are barely 6 months, and they won't stop crying every time he's near. I feel like they can sense his negativity. I tried talking to him. I've suggested he take interest in the kids and spend more time with us as a family. I know it can sometimes take a little longer for parents to bond with their children, but this is downright scary to experience. He's full of jealousy and envy. He sees our children as competition to my time and affections. A few times now he has made comments about feeling frustrated that I still breastfeed our children. The thing is, we mix feed, so he has had ample opportunity to feed them, and he just isn't. He also said that this meaning our life and our marriage after children wasn't what he thought it would be like. I mean, what did he expect? A singular baby cries and 3 of them cry a lot. We've been together for 8 years and married for 7 years. He wanted these children. He pushed for them, and now this. I never thought this would ever be me. I am scared. I am scared for my children. I have tried talking to him, but he just brushes me off. I've suggested counseling. He refuses. He tells me it's all in my head. I want to save this marriage, but I am scared I won't be able to, and maybe it's not worth saving. He comes home later every day. He avoids us on the weekends and any time he has off. I'm not ashamed to say that I went through his phone and there are a lot of flirtatious texts between him and a Jessica. I don't think anything has happened between them, but it sure looks like they are building up to it. I haven't said anything because I'm afraid. Where do I go with 3 children, with no money and no family that can help me? I haven't worked in 2 years, and I've spent all my savings on having these children. My mind is in a complete meltdown. I can't sleep, I can't think, and I'm always exhausted. What the hell happened? Is this him now forever? Now, for the comments. Commenter 1: Get a camera in the baby's bedroom. Check other subs on tips on how to leave safely. Some suggest removing important docs like passports and birth certs and storing in a safety deposit box or trusted friend. You can rent a small storage unit in a nearby area and move stuff over bit by bit so he doesn't notice. May not be practical with 3 babies though. Can you take out a bit of cash when you buy groceries? Abs stash somewhere? Sell items on marketplace for additional cash. Commenter 2: Second the camera. Lots of kids are unalived by dads. Commenter 3: My dad was like this. Always angry and jealous anytime my mom focused on us 3 kids instead of him. And accusing her always of running after us, so she better get up and serve him too. And I'll make you run. I am in my late 30s and he still does this toward my 8-year-old if my mom does anything for him. No, I don't bring my child around much, but he hasn't changed in 40 years. Narcissistic, childish, selfish. You're dealing with my dad basically. Start planning to get out because it's not normal, plus he already may be cheating and using the family dynamics as an excuse to justify it. He's not getting enough attention from you and now you're the enemy who pushes him to another woman. I'm sorry. Commenter 4: In response, it sounds like hubby was enamored of the idea of children, not the reality. Doesn't want to deal with the loss of attention to him that children require. First step is an attorney. Child support will help carry you through. Commenter 4: Does help you at all? Original poster: He doesn't help me at all. I take care of our kids on my own. My parents are long gone and my sister is abroad. She stayed with us for the birth and a month after the children were born. She lives in France but she's due to return home this summer. So I know I'll have her help when she's back. But I'm trying not to bother her as she's going through a divorce. I've suggested couples counseling and he refuses. He says everything is in my head. I'm actually even crying writing this, but I do have a small to-go bag in the trunk of my car. Just in case. I feel like I'm not being rational because he doesn't hurt me or the kids, but I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells. Like what happened to my happy-go-lucky husband? Who's this person I'm afraid of? Update 1: He's 42 and been pinching my 35F babies? Thank you to the person who said I should watch his interactions with my babies more closely and frequently. Not even hours after I posted here asking for advice, I caught him pinching my son while I was scrolling on here and replying to people. I decided to check my baby monitor and I watched my husband enter our children's room and insult them in a hushed and whispery tone. I couldn't make out much of what he was saying, but he was without a doubt telling them that he hated them and wished them dead. Then he pinched my son, and my baby boy didn't even cry, which made me think he's done this many times before. It all happened so fast, and by the time I could make sense of what was happening on the monitor, he was already walking down the hallway and down the stairs. At the same time, I had leapt off the sofa and pretty much tackled him as he came off the stairs. We got into a physical and verbal altercation. We fought, argued and shouted for hours. I guess the police were called by the neighbors because the next thing I know the police are banging on my door. I explained the situation to the police and the officers said that they could not prove that my baby was harmed since he didn't have a bruise and my baby monitor was only on live feed and not simultaneously recording. Eventually they got my husband to agree to pack a bag and leave. He left reluctantly. He has since been blowing up my phone begging for forgiveness, talking about how he's been depressed and stressed by the babies, and that his anxiety and jealousy got the best of him. I just responded once telling him to go duck himself. I've also been in contact with a lawyer, and she's advised me to leave him unblocked in case he further incriminates himself. I don't even recognize who this man is. Where did this all come from? How did this happen? Has any other parent experienced this? How did you handle this? Before you all start jumping down my throat, I am absolutely getting a divorce and I will do everything in my power to get full custody. I did take my children to a family doctor, and they are in good health and there are no other signs of abuse. I've filed a report with the police and my lawyer is dealing with it. I'm also about to start the process of divorce. Time for the comments. Commenter 1: Good job, you're doing great. Your babies deserve your protection from that abusive boss. Save everything and don't let him around them unsupervised ever again. But even that is generous. You're doing excellent. Original poster: I'm doing everything I can to protect them. This all happened a few days ago, but I am in the process of getting a temporary restraining order. My lawyer is handling it and I understand it takes some time to actually get one, and in the meantime I've been advised that I can just deny him visitation until he gets a judgment from the courts that forces me to grant him access to my babies, but that takes time. So in the meantime he can't force me or my babies to see him. I've recorded every call and saved every text. Literally documenting everything. Thankfully he's saying and texting a goldmine of incriminating things that I hope would be sufficient information for a judge to give me and my babies a restraining protective order and for family court to grant me primary and sole custody. Update 2: How did it go so wrong? For my 36th birthday he 42M broke into the house. Every conversation with him 42M feels like I'm 36F losing my mind. The only thing that has kept me semi-sane and able to track what he has been doing is my audio journal and my posts on here. Last week it was my 36th birthday. Actually, I had forgotten it was my birthday and was reminded by my sister that it was in fact my birthday. I decided I couldn't mope around the house, and I got my kids dressed to go shopping and get groceries. We got back and I put away half of the groceries, but my babies were fussy, and so to tire them out and ready them for bed we went for a walk. When I got back home, he was in the kitchen cooking and putting away some of the groceries I had left out. He greeted me and acted normal. I didn't react because his entire demeanor was freaking me out, so I played along. I went upstairs and got the kids down. I did think of walking out the front door, but he was kind of anticipating it and so he was following me around, and I thought in the moment that the best thing I could do was to get my kids upstairs and away from him. He said he wanted to talk and clear the air because this has gone on too long. We had a long conversation and it started out reasonable but eventually spiraled out of control. We got into physical confrontation because I refused to let him stay. He tried to physically intimidate me and hurt me. While he was hurting me, I was still able to contact the police. It took them an excruciatingly long 20-25 minutes to get there. So here I am sitting with two completely black and blue eyes, a busted lip, swollen face, massive knots on my head and bruises all over. I don't know what happened to my life or how I got here, but here I am. I can't even look my neighbors in the eyes. I can't go outside without seeing the shocked faces of people. I have never felt so ashamed, so humiliated, so hurt and so utterly stupid. I thought I made all the right choices in life. When did it all get so ducked? I mean, I think I did everything right. Like I created a stable life for myself, then picked a man that at time was a very loving partner. I married that man and waited 5 years before even going through the process of having children with him, and now once I've had his children he's just beating on me and our babies? My sister is now aware of what's been happening and she is supporting me as best as she can. I have plans to move out, but since I'm not working right now I need some time to save up. His family is also aware. His family refused to believe that I saw him hurt our child, but they can't deny this attack now that they've seen my bruises. Also, yes, he was arrested and he was bailed out by his brother. He's currently staying with his brother. Commenter 1: I remember you. He's the husband that was pinching your baby son. Please contact your attorney and give them an update and ask for advice on how to handle this. This will certainly help with the restraining order if you don't already have one. And obviously, press charges on everything you possibly can. I saw your comment that you've already changed the locks and got cameras. Get a monitored security system and have it armed at all times even when you're home. It'll be a pain in the ass, you'll have to arm and disarm it constantly, but it'll help. The alarm company will also give you a duress code that you can punch in when you disarm it so that the siren turns off, but notifies them to contact the police without it being obvious. I am so sorry you're dealing with this. You did nothing wrong. You did what you were supposed to. Psychopaths are good at hiding who they are. This is not your fault. And when you see your neighbors, tell them my soon-to-be ex-husband did this to me. I'm working on a restraining order, and he's not allowed to be around me or my children. Please tell me if you see him so I can contact the police. You hold your head up high and continue to be the amazing and strong woman that you are. Growing heart, comment or to inform your family and friends. Get that restraining order. Change the locks on your doors. You are not alone. Please do not blame yourself. Make sure you and the kids are safe even if you have to leave home for a while. You can do everything right but have the other person screw it all up anyway. Good luck. Original poster. I am in contact with an organization that my lawyer has put me in contact with. I did have a locksmith come out and I have new locks. I also have a couple of safety locks for my windows, and security cameras around the house, and I changed our security code, but honestly, he doesn't give a shit. He despite it all broke in and hurt me. Update 3. It was all for the love of another woman? Who barely knew of his existence. He 42M hurt my 36F children to further his own selfish desires. I say all of this without exaggeration. I am certain he was getting ready to unalive us. After nearly 8 months of turmoil, I'm finally close to understanding. My soon-to-be ex-husband is in love with a woman he came across on social media, and he has been obsessing over her for at least a year. She also happens to be an intercourse worker and he was paying her for her time and attention. In his mind he believed they could have a future together if only he could get rid of my children and me. Even though this woman gave him no inkling that she even wanted to be with him. He has spent so much of our money on this woman. I am at a loss for words that could accurately describe the situation. I can barely believe half of the things he's been up to. I've spent the past few weeks playing detective and I finally decided to contact Jessica. This is obviously not her name, but I need to call her something. I contacted Jessica and at first, she was very reluctant to speak to me, but I literally begged her to and she was kind enough to get on the phone with me. She told me that she had been seeing him for a while, but she stopped seeing him because he started to scare her. He was sending her unhinged messages and voicemails. He had been stalking her and trying to convince her to be with him. Jessica eventually stopped seeing him and had him blocked, and I guess this is when he started to escalate from emotional abuse to physically abusing my children and myself. He was looking for a way out, and in his crazy mind, unaliving us would free him because the only reason Jessica wouldn't be with him was because me and my children were in the way. During our long call I also explained to Jessica what had been happening to me and she was genuinely kind and helpful. She also agreed to speak to my lawyer and to send them the thousands of unhinged texts, voicemails and voice notes he sent her. For a little while after our conversation, a part of me genuinely hated Jessica and wanted to blame her for everything, but the rational part of me pushed out those unreasonable and dangerous thoughts, especially after I read his disturbing texts and heard his voicemail notes to Jessica. She has also been victimized by him. Honestly, there is nothing like listening to your husband and father of your children talk about how you and your children mean nothing to him and how he wishes you were dead. He could have just asked for a divorce or just got up and left. I sent him a few texts asking him why. This was a one-time thing and since then I've stopped all contact. Why do all of this? Why torment my babies? Why not just walk away? He responded with a message saying any conversation between us should be through our lawyers. His parents have him lawyered up. They know what he's been up to, and they've chosen to protect him. His father came to see me and in a not-so-direct way suggested he could pay me if I stopped talking about what his son has done and was planning on doing. Ever since he broke into the house and pretty much tried to unalive me, I've told anyone who'd listen what he has done. At this point even his colleagues know. Now for the comments. Commenter 1: You need to get immediate custody of the kids. Also put cameras in every room and outside. Also, a restraining order. But honestly, even all that won't protect you from a crazy person. You need to be physically able to protect yourself and your kids. Or maybe get a couple guard dogs. I pray that things work out for you, and he is locked away. Original poster: I have emergency custody of my kids and a protective order. I'm in the process of getting 2 trained guard dogs, haven't gotten very far though, and I have a security system.